When I was 10 years old, I bought a Club Penguin membership. Story time. So here's a story that actually happened. This happened back in circa 2006-2007 when I was 10 years old and in 4th grade. I only had one friend at the time, and while other kids were out playing, hanging out and socializing, I'd rather just spend my days glued to the family computer, much to my parents' disappointment. I'm 23 now, and nothing much has changed. The internet was a vastly different place back then. And there was only one thing that little baby Jay cared about, and that was free online games. I was a dedicated Neopets user at the time, but at times I craved something different. Miniclip was my go-to for free games, and one day I just bought this one game in the featured section, something by the name of Club Penguin. Curious by the bright and colorful art style, I was immediately interested and quickly made an account, and I made my own penguin character. I had no creativity at the time, so I just named my penguin Neopet Bruce, which, if you don't know, is the name of the penguin species on Neopets. Now, I don't know how things were in the later years of the old Club Penguin, but back then, if you wanted to have or do anything, you had to pay for a membership. Else you were just destined to have a penguin looking like a peasant for the rest of your life. Oh wait, the new one also had the same problem, right? To me, membership was an impossible thing, and I didn't have to ask my parents for one because I knew well enough that they wouldn't buy it just so I could have my penguin not look like a social reject. But yet, I saw all the other players. They all had memberships and their penguins all looked cool, and they got to have all the colorful pets and houses. In my mind, I imagined that their parents would be similar to mine, because there's no way that a sensible parent would willingly spend money on their child's virtual game. At least mine wouldn't. So there had to be a catch. Trick, and I spent countless hours investigating this issue, and one day I stumbled upon the buy membership page. I wondered if there was a way I could cheat this system, and all of this without getting caught. Maybe I could insert the right info and get right through the system, but sadly my infallible insert random numbers and dates into the credit card section plan just wasn't yielding any results. Shocking. So there had to be a code I worked, and I knew just the one that did. My parents' credit card. But it was too risky. What if my parents found out? And if my account got banned? By typing my real-life name and address, I was leading the Club Penguin FBI right to my door. And I was too young, man. I wasn't ready to spend my days in prison for Club Penguin fraud. So I had to set up a red herring to get the police off my scent. So there are various membership prices in various currencies, and well, I'm from Portugal, which is a teeny tiny country in the bottom left of Europe, which uses euro. Euro? How do you say that in... whatever. Well, if the Club Penguin police detectives knew I used euro, they'd know that I'm from Europe, and I'd be a lot easier to track down. So I devised a plan. I chose the Australian dollar prices and set the country to Australia. I mean, it's pretty far from Portugal, plus it's kind of a big country. I could be anywhere, and the Club Penguin FBI could search for me for weeks before giving up completely, and not be free from ever going to real-life jail to pay for my penguin crimes. So I set up my name, address, and all my personal info to pure key smash gibberish. I mean, what if they set a Club Penguin bill every month? My parents would find out, like, immediately. So I inserted all my bogus info, everything was set in place, and then I inserted a code from my parents' credit card. It was just a random combination of numbers. How could I possibly know where it came from? I inserted a code and then I pressed send, and I saw the page load. As it loaded, I savored my last seconds of innocence before I was to become a wanted cybercriminal on the run from the Club Penguin police. And I was thrilled. The feeling of knowing you just did something that you know is very bad, but maybe you might have just gotten away with it. The page loaded. Said the purchase was a success, and the receipt had been sent to the made-up email I had set up. Suckers. I loaded into the game, and lo and behold, all the features locked away by a paywall were now available for my little criminal self to enjoy. All the amazing clothes I was only allowed to look but never touch were finally mine to keep and customize my penguin with. All the house items and igloo expansions. I could finally have it all. And I wasted no time to customize my penguin and my igloo to my heart's desire. I mean, this must have been what all the other cool kids were doing. And for once, I actually felt part of a community. and that my penguin could finally stand out against the crowd. The days passed, and there were no cops at my door. My parents had no idea what I had done, and so I got cocky. Not long after, I was bragging about my achievement to my younger brother and my best friend at the time. They too had their own peasant penguin accounts, and I was excited to share my hidden knowledge of how to cheat the system. They gave me their logins, and that day, 2 more Australian memberships were bought with a seemingly untraceable number that was my parents' credit card. So the 3 of us enjoyed our new fashionable penguins, and life was good. But I forgot one very important detail. And of course, by forget I mean that I was a stupid 10-year-old who had no idea of how credit cards even worked. About 6 months had passed, and the fear of having the real-life Club Penguin police come knocking at my door was something of the past. I was happily playing Club Penguin, investing hours and days into the game, and one day, as I was playing on the family computer, my dad sees me and recognizes the website. He turns to me and asks if I knew anything about spending money in this Club Penguin thing, because he saw the name pop up on our bills, and he hadn't paid much mind until now, and my blood ran cold. My life was over, and my dad, bless his soul, this is also one of his favorite stories to tell about me, would probably understand if I were to explain the situation to him. But my mom would probably flip her shit and scream her lungs out if she found out about it. So I turned to my sweet old dad and said, "What? No, I never heard of it. What's a penguin?" You know, like a liar. Honestly, I don't know how my dad believed me, because I remember being scared when he asked. And there's no way that I didn't sound like a deer in headlights when I responded. But yet, he simply dropped the conversation. 6 months on the run, and my crimes are finally catching up with me. I prayed that my dad would think it was just nothing. But that just wasn't going to happen. And that day, I was met with a fear worse than being caught by the Club Penguin police. Disappointing my dad. Granted, nowadays I kinda do that on a daily basis, but what can we do? Not long after that interaction, one night, my parents finally confronted me with the bills, and all the months of guilt I didn't know I had came crashing down as I cried and confessed to my crimes. Soon, the yelling had subsided, and as I did the math, something just didn't add up. I had cost my family about 100 Australian dollars. But yet, there was no way that a single Club Penguin account cost that much, even with all those months added up. Had there been any other purchases? So I had to confess about my other 2 skeletons in the closet, my brother and my friend's account, and the whole other round of yelling was upon me, with my parents calling my friend's parents to let them know the situation. My mom was pissed off, and my dad was just baffled at how this baby 10-year-old had managed to pull off this stunt and go unnoticed for so long. Needless to say, I was grounded and forbidden from going on the computer for 2 whole months. Now mind you, this was 2007, I had no smartphones nor tablets at the time, and my friend had also been grounded by extension, and my relationship with our parents was forever scarred due to my mischievous stunts. At the time, all I cared about were my Neopets dailies, and I counted the days until I could return to the computer, and for a long time, I was really scared of buying things online. And yeah, moral of the story, I don't know, if you're a kid, don't buy stuff online without your parents' permission. It just isn't worth it. And parents, don't overestimate your kid's ability to steal your credit card and do online purchases without your knowledge. Yeah, I don't know how to end the video, so that being said, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, I don't know what YouTube people say. And yeah, thanks for watching.